David Rodriguez. He and I worked together on an investigation in Miami at the Coral Castle. Ava has been a friend of mine for a very long time. She's done a lot of paranormal investigations. She had her own TV show for a while. And of course, Mary Jo, who, I recently saw an episode with her, and I've been in touch with her for was it 2 months now, seeing if you could come on. And so I did my best to grab a couple of clips from everybody so everyone could get a good idea of who's who and what's going on. So what I thought is I'd like to start, I think, by just playing a clip from one of you and then talking about it a little bit and getting into your backgrounds and then just kind of move along.
All of a sudden, this puzzle went flying off the shelf. It won't hurt you.
It?
Oh my God, she's still
Almost
here.
finished prepping room 310.
I work 7 at night to 7 in the morning.
You can take your break after. Pretty quiet tonight.
On that floor, there was 4 ICU units. The patients, once they came there, they usually stayed there until they passed. It was an old hospital before they changed it into a cancer hospital. So there was always rumors that it was haunted. This smell of death, it's something you'll never forget once you smell it once. It's just this ungodly smell. I felt very uneasy after that. I just hear this moaning. Hearing her moan, it was like, oh my God, she's still here. She's still here. It was Vivian.
Vivian?
The moan started and it got louder, so I knew she was closer to me.
Vivian, are you here? I can feel you.
I feel like sometimes they don't know they died.
You're free to go. You don't have cancer anymore. You're not in pain.
And then after I said that to her and told her that she was an angel, I just felt this whole warmth. And it's nothing I've ever felt. It's just like people say they see heaven when they die. It was like I felt heaven. I had everybody crying there, and I didn't mean to. It just hit me because you try to sit back and remember exactly what happened because they were asking you and they were hitting certain triggers. But it was just a horrible smell, and it's nothing that you can explain. It's just people that work it kind of know it. You ever they say burnt hair has a smell to it? It's
right.
Yes, you can't explain it. You don't know how to explain it. You just know when you smell it, you're like, yeah.
I wanted to ask you, I know that I saw when I was doing a little bit of research that you may be involved with haunted dolls.
Yeah,
it's haunted objects, but I do have dolls. That's the majority of them because most, I guess, paranormal people, they buy them for just the experience, and I end up getting them because they can't, if they're truly haunted, they end up coming to me. So, because people can't control them or they keep messing with them and they get mad. So they come stay with me. I'm actually in the room with all of them now. They don't bother me because I don't show. I've gotten things thrown at me in this room. Yeah, usually when I bring them home, I'll sit them. It's weird. I have a weird thing that I do. I sit them in my kitchen for about 2 weeks. I don't know why 2 weeks. I just always it just happens that way. And just way if I notice anything strange or I have a camera down there that records everything, that's when I'll hear the voices, usually from that object. But I already know somewhere the history of it beforehand. And then I do the EVP stuff like that. I do ask it questions. I'll put some kind of REM pod or some kind of thing around them to see if there's anything coming off of them when I'm doing this. But then I have a little talk. I don't record it or nothing like that. But I'm like, listen, you guys have to respect me. I respect you. I'm not going to bother you. I just want to know your story. And you're going to go up in a room with a bunch of other, objects. Maybe you can have a party up there, but you have to stay in that room is what I tell them. You say, I respect you, you respect me, and that's it. And if you don't, I have to put you somewhere that you're not going to like, which is usually out in a shed or.
Okay. Have you ever had to put one in the shed in time out? Does that ever happen?
That was the thing, the entity, demonic or evil, whatever it would be. I actually felt bad. So I brought it in the house. I said, as long as you're good. This was during COVID, by the way. And we were all in the house. So As long as you're good, you can stay here. And then it started getting a little mad when I brought some frankincense in my house, and that's when, you know, it got evil, bad. Any kind of a murder, as I see it, and we have one that's not too far from my house. When I was a kid, I had a huge murder. It's all that trauma energy just gets released, and sometimes they don't even know they're dead, and they're just frantically running around, is what, you know, mediums and people tell us, you know, but they're in a different plane because they left and they weren't ready to leave. It could be, you know, my thing is, people say objects can't be haunted, and I said, well, if you go to a haunted location, same difference. They choose to stay in that area. Some things choose to stay with an object. So if you say that a haunted house or a house is haunted, you can never say an object is, because a house is an object, but they can stay with whatever they want.
But could it be just temporary and move on?
They could, yeah, because we all have free will. We can do whatever we want. We can go, we can leave, you know, we can sell our soul and take it back. I mean, we all have free will to do whatever we want. Again, some people stay with an object for a certain reason. It reminds them of something. It's theirs. It was their hair. Who knows?
I've got a haunted doll right back here. This one. I was on a show on Hulu this year called Repossessed. It's in season 1 now. It's going to go to season 2. You were on that too?
Yeah. Which one were you in?
I was Orlando.
Oh, okay. I was in Gettysburg.
Episode 4 or something like that.
Okay.
Nice. Cool. So this guy here, I got him on like about 17 years ago on an investigation I was doing in Nebraska. They were afraid of what was happening in the house. They kept going outside and seeing there was a lake back there, and they would see this girl run up, and she had like blood all over her, and she was yelling, "Mommy, mommy," and whatever. And so these kids got really scared. And of course, the parents are like, whatever. They have a big imagination. And well, it got to the point where the kids wouldn't sleep in their room because one day they saw the girl come up to the window, like going, "Mommy, I need my mommy," or whatever. And they wouldn't sleep in the room. So then they were sleeping in the parents' room. And then the parents started seeing things. One day when the kids went with their dad to go eat some pizza at Pizza Hut, she was there and she cleaned up all the toys, put the toys in a box. And then she heard like a bunch of noise come from the kids' room, even though nobody was there. And all the toys were on the floor. And this guy was sitting on the top of the box. And so she thought, well, obviously this is the trouble, right? So she put the doll away, but in the garage in a box. It ended up that across the street, this serial killer named Charles Starkweather killed 2 kids there. And there was this August Meyer farm across the way that he killed his own uncle that was there, this guy, August Meyer. And basically, so now when I took him on Repossessed, basically what they said there is that this doll has the girl that they were seeing was the girl who was killed along with her boyfriend, and that those 2 souls are in this doll, and that they were okay with me, but that, I mean, this doll is super active. It talks, it makes noises at night. It'll whisper in people's ears when they're here, like in the bathroom. It turns lights on and off. It whistles like, I can't do a good whistle, but whatever, it whistles at night at you. It does like a lot of, and there's no batteries in this thing. So it's pretty crazy, this doll.
So when you say it whistles, like literally whistles?
It does like at night, I'll go like that. And it talks, like if it talks to you, it has a voice of a kid. It'll be like, "Hello," like that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
you can definitely tell it's the doll. It's not a person.
Oh my God.
Is the voice disembodied? Like, is the voice in the vicinity of the doll, or is it kind of like you're in your kitchen and you hear the voice and the doll's on the shelf?
You'll be in a room adjacent, and then you hear it coming from there, and you come there, and it may, the doll even moves sometimes around.
Oh, wow.
Like, I noticed the person that cleans my place, they came in last week, and there's like, "Why is the doll over there?" I'm like, "Oh, it was on the other side, wasn't it?" I mean, it really it's got a mind of its own.
View of the room, yeah.
And literally on podcasts, it's actually like people who have been listening to the podcast hear it, like they've heard it too. And so I don't know. I guess if anybody hears, leave a comment.
I don't know if you mentioned, does he have a
name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
They asked me what his name was, and it's like the minute I saw it, I just thought it was Bobo. And then she asked the same thing, like the medium on the show. And I was like, well, I don't know. Just she goes, how'd you come up with that name? I was like, I don't know. It just came to me, Bobo. But she's like, that's exactly what it wants to be called and whatnot. And like it was trying to like send that to you telepathically. I don't know, that type of excellent. Oh, there we are, investigating with Thom.
Yeah.
Just the idea of a clown is very frightening. The idea of being in a hospital at night is frightening. The idea of being next to cancer patients is frightening. So, and this goes out to everybody. If somebody was afraid, you know, whether they're going to have an encounter, or they're going to go into a hospital, or they're curious about it, what would you tell them? What advice would you give them for the afraid person?
I don't know. In my experience, I've been attacked before, and then I freak out, like So try to just stay calm. I guess that would be it.
Okay.
Well, you've been touched before, right? You didn't have a ghost smack you on the butt once?
I did. I had one once.
It actually grabbed my boob. To be honest, it felt like
Okay.
claws going into my
Oh, that's
flesh.
fun.
Time to leave.
I had it once in a hotel. One smacked me in the ass walking upstairs.
I'm walking up talking to people about Penhurst. All of a sudden, something comes up and grabs me right in the butt. Like, right. And I turn around ready to hit.
Right
And
in
I'm
the
like,
butt.
and there's nobody there. And then I couldn't stop laughing. I had to stop on the steps, and I said, I just got groped up the back. And I'm on a live. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I just said that on a live. But it was funny because I'm like, oh my God, that's never happened to me. And it happened on a live. So it was
Oh
kind
my
of funny.
God.
Well, these
Yeah,
ghosts obviously have good taste. I'm going to say.
they're
I
men in
was
a
gonna say
prison.
they have a
Very bored. Conjuring House again, or actually Waverly too. Also, something grabbed my neck. Conjuring House,
Oh.
something felt like it punched me real hard. Actually left a bruise on my leg.
Much to the delight of the group's female investigators, Ava uncovers a darker tale.
Murder,
I heard murder. Was there a baby involved?
Yep.
Something happened in February. Baby.
Again, baby.
Something happened February 20th. It was February 20th. Oh my God.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm also working with Ava with the Ovilus, and we would love to know if there's anyone near us right now. Can you tell us? There's two.
Two of us, yes, there's two of us.
Wow.
Can we ask why you're here?
Buddy?
Can you say that again? Why are you here?
Is there something that you would like us?
Can you say that again, please? How many of us are sitting at...
Already. Ava.
Ava.
That was Ava, right?
Yeah, Ava.
We got temperature changes. I have an overwhelming feeling of sadness.
Right now. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm almost about to go home now.
Spirits that I connect to that feel the sadness of like being forgotten about.
Oh my goodness.
I remember one time I was at a cemetery and the headstone was covered by a tree and you could barely read it. And as soon as I like bent down to try to read the headstone, it was something went inside my mouth. Like it's hard to explain. It almost choked me, like, and it choked me, and I started coughing and coughing, and then I started feeling this overwhelming feeling of sadness and being forgotten about. Like, please don't forget about me. It was really, really sad, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes they just don't know where to go. You know, they feel lost.
And they don't know what to do, or they're scared of the light, or maybe they know they weren't good people and are afraid to see what is awaiting for them, or they're just lost, like you said. Or because Mary Jo, the same thing in the hospital, she still felt she was there, and then helped her move on. But what she had to know that she was dead. She never even knew she had passed, right? In that scenario. So I guess there's a multitude of reasons that
I had a bit of a near-death experience with a chemical. It was like a warming spray that I had bought, and it's keep your body warm while you're outside in the cold and stuff like that. Well, it had a bad reaction to it, and I ended up pretty much flatlining. And when I was gone, I say I saw like a white light, and I was like going up to it. Part of me was like, do I go there? You know what I mean? Like, there's so many people over there. Do I go there? Or do I just continue, going towards this light? There was no sadness. There was none of that. Like, I didn't remember who I was or where I just came from, where I just left.
So I was in Boca, Florida. I got hit by a tractor trailer truck coming off an exit in Boca. I didn't wake up for 3 days. And I remember like hearing whatever, just hearing something. And all of a sudden I had this vision, and I was just like, I was completely out still. I was like day 2, day 3. And I saw water, like an ocean. And I saw this tiny little rigging dot in this water. And I was like coming from the clouds, and I started to come through these clouds, and I started to see the water more closely. And it was like a little Viking ship, this little wooden ship in the middle of the water. And as I got closer to it, I could see movement and people on this big wooden ship. And as I kind of got to it, I kind of like hovered over it for a minute. And as soon as my feet touched the ship itself, so as soon as I touched that ship, I woke up. And my friends were in the room and nurses. And it was almost like, I didn't even know I was almost dead. I had no idea. And then all of a sudden, bang, I'm back. And it was like, did I make myself do that? Was there a reason? Was it not my time?
That sounds like the ship taking you to Valhalla or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Maybe it was a possible return back. Maybe that was their way of saying, "Look, for whatever reason, like I'm not sure how it was you decided, or if somebody else decided to send you back, and they're like,
Some
okay, there's the ship."
investigators, they ask, you can, talk to me, touch me, whatever. You got to be careful because those things do like to attach, or they can, and
I'm
they
one of
will come
those.
home with you if you don't tell their asses to stay where they are.
Yeah, I was going to ask you because I know that when we investigate, we always kind of follow a set of protocols. Before starting communication with any spirits in a location and when leaving a location. Is that something you guys do too?
Some spray. Some people want to, recite some prayer, or, I guess I've done like possession cases with the church. I've worked with the police on like murder cases, and I don't really all I really do is I can tell when something's trying to enter me, and I just kind of stop it as much as I can. But sometimes you can't stop it because it's just, you're there too long and you get tired, and they just kind of enter you when you're tired or something. But I really try to, when I leave, I just try to push that stuff out. When I get home, I wash my clothes, I take a shower. I feel that helps a little bit, even though it may be stupid. I don't know. But just try to cleanse myself. But, I don't recite any prayers or anything, but I guess it just really depends on the person. And
hey, I want to say something if I could. So this has directly to do with you, Dave. So again, I'm the UFO guy, right? I don't really, I've had experiences, so I'm connected to it, and I know it's happens. I know these things do happen, but it's not my forte, right? So I was asked to help out on an investigation at the Coral Castle, and that's where I met Dave in Miami. And we were there at the doing like a tour at first, and then later on there was multiple film crews there. It was pretty well set up as far as capturing the investigation itself. And towards the end, Dave and I were hanging out, and there's this area where what was the guy's name who was like 90 pounds who built that place?
Edward Leeds-Skalnin.
Yeah, and so he went up to where he used to live and sleep, and had that little 16 or 17-year-old girlfriend or whatever it was. And so we were asking questions, and Dave had the recorders, and there were several, 2 or 3, and they were asking for a particular person or whatever. There was no response, and I had said, well, maybe we should be asking a more general question. Is there someone else here who's not this individual? Is there a child here? And then it went, right, Dave? It started to go haywire. Lights were blinking, recorders were going off. And I think this is a shot of when we played the recorders back, and it was on multiple recorders. We could hear a child's voice.
Didn't the lights go out? Like, didn't it flash
the lights went out
at some point? Yeah.
And so as soon as we asked a different question, the where is it? Here's some of the film crew. I mean, there was a pretty good sized film crew there, and all of a sudden it was on all the recorders. And so I'm thinking to myself, if it was one recorder, I'd be thinking, well, maybe it was just a fluke. But then the lights had gone off too, and then it was on everyone else's recorder. And so there were multiple follow-up questions, and it was like we were actually having a dialogue. And that changed a lot for me. That I was like, okay, I'm in with both feet. I mean,
that's what you're trying to do in an investigation, is communicate with them, really. I mean, that's try to get answers for things. And
we went to this little old schoolhouse in Gettysburg, and the whole like big metal thing fell down when I was telling the story. And I'm so used to things banging, this and that. I don't jump, I don't scream. I just kind of like look like, okay, is everybody good? You know, and they're all like freaking out. And I'm looking at them like, what's going on? The whole thing. So this whole thing smashed when we were in the middle of them talking about this chair, which the chair had a bigger history, had more proof, had everything. And then they had that happen while we were filming, and they didn't use it.
I'm here to listen to firsthand accounts, consider the evidence.
Oh my God. I see it. I see it.
At that point, I'll render a verdict.
I'm a journalist. I'm an investigator. The most important thing to me is facts.
We have a piece of material.
I wish I could just know what it was.
There's no question to me that you experienced a UFO. You never know who's going to walk through the front door in Roswell, New Mexico.
Everybody was so disappointed.
Yeah, nothing sucks more than having a good moment and a good line, and they don't use it, or they gloss over it. Or
my son actually got lifted up and thrown, and that, if anybody's ever seen anybody get lifted up and thrown, that is like probably the most scariest thing I could ever. And I've never seen it since, and I've been doing this since then. I was 24 when that happened. I'm going to be 50, so. That's the reason why I do what I do, because, you know.
It was like a springboard. So I'm walking, and all of a sudden, boom. That's what it felt like. I didn't feel any pressure on my body at all. But I literally got thrown, and Ava was there. Rachel was there.
He was all cut up.
There was a retired police officer there, the group from
One
Salem.
from Salem, yeah.
And you were there, and it was insane.
Tree lighting up on the other side of the bridge, and there was no light on the other side of the bridge. Like, it made no sense.
Well, that night when you were there, they were filming these lights in the sky that were all of a sudden forming shapes. And remember that? Bill Forte was there from KGRE Radio. He was filming. Yeah. It was just weird.
That was a strange night. It was a very strange night. Very active night. Something different was happening in each spot. In every different spot, something different was happening.
I was right here. We were walking. His feet came off the ground, and he landed here on his side.
When that happened, all kinds of weird shit was going on in there.
His fucking body came off the ground. Look. He's bleeding.
It was chaotic. Not the people itself, just the activity that was happening was chaotic. So,
for me, I think it really depends on the people in the group.
Ava's a sensitive, so maybe you're right. And when you've got 20 or 30 people that are all for real and want to experience something, to collectively, you're a magnet.
Yeah, when you get like those people who are all like little portals.
I really believe it's your aura or the light that we shine that we can't really see, but the ghosts can see it. They're attracted to that. So if I go somewhere by myself, I get so much crap. It's so scary. if somebody comes with me and I know that person's negative or just off, I will tell them to stay away.
So in my experience with ghosts, I noticed a smaller group is better as well. Yeah.
I don't know about the alien thing. I've never done that yet.
Yeah,
Definitely
there's
try it.
that.
Real crazy.
Well, I'll tell you what, babe. If you want to do the alien thing, me and Thom are the ones. Definitely
The
the
alien
alien
thing.
thing, absolutely. But it's the same thing. I mean, I told the story before on the show of being in a hotel in Manchester, England, and Whitley Strieber staying in the room next to me, and he communes with his visitors at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm sitting there sleeping, and something slapped me, like knocked me and woke me up, and I'm looking at my phone, and it's exactly 3 a.m. right? And the next day we're at breakfast, and he says, "Yeah, I commune with the visitors." And I go, "What time?" He goes, "Exactly 3 a.m. And then, "What room are you in?" He's in the room next to me. So they were like passing through and interacted with me, or "Hey, there's Bara, let's wake him up," and that kind of thing. So it happens with the aliens too. So I think that to this, I think there's some alien and ghost thing that's kind of together. So I definitely think there's a magnet, like a magnetic attraction with some people. That they draw in whatever it is you're looking for. And also I think that bad spirits will focus on somebody with a perforated aura or a weak aura. They will see that weakness and they will come in and they will try to get in there and get into that person and attach
Do you
to
think
them.
that aliens are paranormal? I get in this conversation a lot, and I do not say that they are paranormal. I think they might travel in a way that might represent a paranormal way of getting from point A to point B. But are they paranormal themselves?
There's like certain things that like go on, like, because I do ghost stuff only, and then sometimes I'll run into like you, let's say, because why is that? Like, like the police run into the ambulance people all the time. It's because it's in the same wheelhouse. Same thing with Bigfoot. Now, how are all these things connected? Probably because maybe this stuff is on a different plane, all three of them. You know what I mean?
Interdimensionally, right?
Interdimensional. And then there's things where like I've done cases where like you get stuff talking to you that isn't even in English or any other language. And what the hell is that stuff, And then they report seeing not only ghosts, but like aliens or UFOs in that area. And then what is that stuff?
I don't jump to conclusions. Matter of fact, I'm more like Mike. I almost kind of rule things out first. I go, what do I know that it's not? And then that'll lead me to the one thing that it is.
Well, what are like those balls of white light? Are they ghosts? Are they beings that have been here since before we were here? Are they UFOs?
Well,
What are those things?
They broken light? Or is it a tightly knit or a
tightly knit? I mean, I've seen them before.
Does it look more like a sphere or is it more like an orb? If I see something like that on a camera lens or something, it could be anything. It could be a bug. It could be whatever. But if
I'm saying with my eyes, though,
myself, if it's a crisp ball and it's moving and acting intelligently, well, I know what it's not. As far as you know what I mean. If it was an orb, for instance, I think it would just kind of be hovering there. It may not be quite as defined, but when something is super defined and it's moving in a very quick, intelligent manner, no, I don't consider that ghostly.
Right.
Well, you sort of brought up a good point, Thom, that I wanted to ask each of you guys about was debunking and what you guys do like around that when you're investigating.
I try to debunk it any way I can, just like Thom was talking about. And once I realized I really can't, there's no good arguments for this not being valid. Like there's some great space shuttle video of UFOs doing stuff that they just absolutely cannot do. Then I take a stand. So I feel like I know I'm kind of debunk proof when I put something out there and talk to somebody about it. So that's what I do is I just keep asking questions until I have answers to everything. And once I have answers to everything, what's left is the truth. And I hate to quote Mr. Spock there, but I think I am. But that's the reality. Hi, kids. Of it. Thanks for having me. I just wanted to come in and say hi. I'm going to go watch Russell Wilson win a football championship. Love you.
Bye. Thanks for showing up, man. It was good seeing you.
Like I have this really cool video of one doll sitting on my kitchen counter, and I asked her to set off this REM pod. It worked. I said, okay, no, stop that. We set that one off next to your leg. She did.
What about you, Ava?
Well,
Talker app.
We didn't have the spirit box going. We had just a regular recorder, and we had thermal imaging camera. We also had something else that was lighting up, but it wasn't the spirit box, and it wasn't a REM pod because the REM pod Thom, it was near Thom. So, but there was lights going everywhere. I think it was just a K2 meter that was going crazy, and just everything was going crazy. Things were shutting off on us. Lights were shutting off and turning back on. But then they put on like this sound frequency thing towards the sky, and I don't know, the sky was going crazy too, like lights in sky. And I've never seen that type of investigation done before with like sound. Oh my goodness.
This is a good one, but she's very, very, a very active one. So that's Gretchen.
Gretchen.
I was going to ask you about Annabelle because I saw that you had a picture on like Facebook with Annabelle and what it was like to like be around that doll.
See, it's funny because I brought my dog to the Warrens Paracon just about a month ago, and my dog walked right past it. I was actually surprised about that. I thought, but every time I saw her, I wasn't scared. But I went to the museum. How many times? Twice or three times. And I remember saying to somebody one time, like, I don't understand, like, why I don't feel threatened or scared of Annabelle. And they said, well, if it's a demon, it's looking down at you like you're a pissant. I'm like, oh yeah, that's trying to true. I'm not trying to like make anything bad. So when I went into the next time to the Warrens Museum, I'm looking at her and I said to Dan, dude, you change this doll because I'm feeling it. It was like, I don't know. It was a whole different of all times I've seen her. And I don't know if it was just in that area or my guard was down or something, but I'm like, And then I was going to take a selfie and I'm thinking, I didn't even want to turn my back against her.
Right.
It was just weird, that whole, and I don't know if it was another entity around her or I don't know, but I didn't feel comfortable around her at all.
I can't look at a picture of Annabelle. It gives me a pain down my arm and like almost like being stabbed in the back. And that happened to me and my daughter at the same time.
So I've been stabbed in the back a lot of times. That's why I have a new co-host. David knows what I'm talking about.
Now you said that, I'm starting to laugh, and I'm thinking, I'm laughing at her, because I heard him say that.
Oh, shoot. But yeah, that's happened though. So I don't know. That little doll, man, is freaking powerful. So I see why it's in that freaking case. But
there is good versus evil. There really is a fight, like between good versus evil, and I don't think people realize that. They really don't until you start seeing some things. You know,
freaking me out. I'll show you why. Because I have all my like dolls. You see them? Like all my
they're like Cabbage Patch.
Yeah, I got dolls over there. So like they're right in back of me.
Be careful at night.
I know. I mean, I've been investigating for about 3.5 years. I haven't really come across anything like that. Yeah, I mean, we have people here on, the earth, human beings that are, bad human beings. And I think that when you die, you're still a bad human being.
And then I think anybody who's ever done like paranormal for, a while has seen things that just aren't normal ghosts too. Like you can see these lights or you see, I don't know, stuff that just isn't ghosts, but not everything is bad. I think, people think there's more bad things than there are. It's more hidden and I think when the bad stuff happens, I don't think people call paranormal teams usually. It's just like, it's dealt with within the family and maybe they go to church or something and deal with it there. But
souls are alive, right? So they feel, I would imagine they absorb, right? They're an energy. The fields that you pick up on are going to be different. So even though somebody goes to jail doesn't mean they were an evil person. There are a lot of people are wrongfully accused of things all the time, but they're still angry now. And that body that spirit came from is going to connect or be part of that person who lived their last 10 or 20 years, suffering. Right?
Yeah, a bad ghost was a bad person. I mean, usually, like if you do, like anybody who's done like a penitentiary is totally different types of ghosts than a church. They're saying totally different EVPs. Like I've heard "help me" in a church and stuff like that. But then if you do a penitentiary, especially where there's like a lot of men and it was dangerous and they killed people there, and like you did Brushy Mountain or whatever, didn't they kill like 10,000 people there or something like that, or 1,000 people were killed? I don't know. There was like a lot of people killed there. It's like that stuff I mean, I've been pushed. You hear stuff like it's mean stuff.
Yeah, I did Brushy Mountain. You know, in one area, you can spend several hours because you're getting activity and you don't want to stop with the activity. But there were a lot of people that were wrongfully accused and put, including children, put in that prison. And there's also a lot of Native Americans on that land. There was civil war that happened on that land. So there's so much more than just like the prisoners that were there at the prison. There's so many layers, I guess.
Isn't it like shaped like a cross too?
So they have one area that was called the Hole, and it's like in a separate building from the main cell block. And in that building, like you literally have to go downstairs. When you get to the bottom, there's like this dank, really moist, dark, dingy basement, and they actually have 4 cells down there, and they would keep prisoners down there. But my one experience there, that's one area that I got touched, and all of a sudden I just feel like something grabbed my butt, and I just walked out. I was like, nope, 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 nope.
Thanks so much. You made my Halloween.
Nice to meet everyone.
Oh yeah,
Nice
happy early
Halloween,
Halloween.
guys.
Happy early Halloween, everybody. Stay.
Happy Halloween.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.